Welcome back to Time by the Tent podcast. I am Joey Baird. Beside me is
Holly Baird.
This program is to help you enjoy more of the outdoors, camping, outdoor activities, hiking, land management, and everything in between. What we're going to talk about, Holly, is food cooking at the campsite, which is probably one of the most look forward to activities for many people who venture outside, is that outdoor eating time, that supper, that lunch, that whatever it is.
Right. And actually, you know, what's funny is I started seeing a new hairdresser, and she's also outdoorsy. And we were talking, and she was like, "Oh, you like camping?" I said, "Yeah, I like camping." She's like, "What do you like to do when you're camping?" And I was like, "I don't know, hang out outside and then also eat." And she laughed, and she's like, "It is really a big part of camping, isn't it?" And I said, "Yeah." And then we were talking about our favorite camping foods. So yes, cooking while camping is a thing. And also it's I think it's kind of fun to plan the meals and then, getting it all together, and then depending on how you cook things, it might take a little bit of time.
Right. It's not that enjoyable if you're camping for 2 days and you don't eat, because camping and eating, it's eating.
Just like eating sandwiches.
Yeah. Oh, we packed 17 ham and bologna sandwiches with mustard.
I can eat ham and bologna sandwiches anytime.
Tuna and peanut butter with ketchup. Goober on the Andy Griffith Show. Okay. So, cooking at the camp.
Right. So there's a
open
couple
fire.
Ways. Yeah, there's open fire. Ways to cook at camp. Yeah. Open fire. This is our favorite way.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you see these people on the YouTube. They have to wait for the bed of coals to, you big fire, and you got to wait for it to cool down enough to cook on. I kind of just make it happen before the coals and have to wait an hour. I work around that so we can eat before it gets dark in most instances. And it's a lot easier. Yeah, it's going to get dark, but if you can get a lot of stuff prepared before it gets dark, works out a lot better. And you can, there's certain woods that you shouldn't burn and cook over, and there's ones that are better. We've never had a problem with anything whether it's elm or oak or pine. We've never had a problem with any of the flavors infusing into the food that makes it taste bad.
Right. Yeah. It's I don't think I've ever had we've had any conflicting flavors like that. So open fire, that's a good way to cook. And there's also camp stoves, so like propane camp stoves. There's all sorts of backpacker stoves. There's the regular like fold open 2-burner situation. There's stove oven things. So there's a lot of option when it comes to stoves. And
when you cook over fire or over wood, we'll get to the stove, return to that in a moment. You want to make sure the wood is dry, because there are woods to avoid, such as pine or redwood or fern or spruce or cypress or cedar. These contain high levels of sap, and that can result in a funny taste. So we want to be aware of that. But if you make sure it's pretty dry, I think you're going to be okay. Now, somebody can correct me, but popular cedar planks are a very popular thing to cook. With you're cooking salmon, that's a big one. But keep that in mind, that you just don't want to throw anything on the fire. Now, some people choose not to use a campfire for cooking, but they use that propane or that double burner stove. The campfire is the center focus of the campsite, but they choose to cook off of the fire and do it in a more of a controlled situation, because the campfire, it's hard to control the heat. Right.
Especially if you are making something like hot water for coffee or tea, it can be difficult to get it done over the fire in a time efficient manner.
Right.
But growing up, we would cook some things on the stove and then some things over the campfire. So it was both. And one thing I forgot that we should talk about is the grate.
The cooking grate. If you go to a state park, DNR site, they will have a fire pit, and from everyone that I have seen, there is some form of a cooking grate. Those grates sometimes are good, sometimes are not, and those whom I see cook on those grates typically use aluminum foil. So the point of getting that flame-kissed steak or burger or filling the chicken, it takes away whenever you have to put aluminum foil down as a level of protection. So what we use is a portable cooking grate that we take with us, and it's on a stake, and it swivels off the fire to prepare and on the fire to cook. And we know exactly what we've cooked on it, and it's ready to go every time, and we can clean it off with a wire brush, and we can get that very specific taste of that flame kiss that you can't get any other way.
Yeah, Joey made me quote unquote eat my words because I was like, no, these campsites have a grate, and he's like, is it okay? And I was like, yeah, they're fine. And I was like, well, you use tinfoil, right? And Joey obviously didn't want that. He wanted the flame kissed meals. And they are very delicious.
And I think that we got that one at Cabela's, I think, for $60 or something?
I think it was less than that,
yeah.
But yeah.
So, and you can, if you really wanted to construct one yourself, you could. But if you want to pick one up and just the ease and knowing it's there, because we went to a couple of campsites where there wasn't a cooking grate. And that would have been challenging because the fire pit was there, but other things were damaged or missing. So when you go and cook at a campsite, whether you're using a open fire or a camp stove, there are certain ingredients in which you should always have on hand when you cook.
Right. So sometimes you want to make sure every time you'll make sure you have the basics. Maybe if you prefer certain condiments or utensils. And then also something like butter or oil. Joey and I went camping this past fall. It was our last camping trip for the year, and we got there and we realized we didn't have any butter or oil. Luckily, I had an avocado, I think two avocados that I just happened to toss in my backpack as I was walking out the door. And
they sort of worked.
It sort of worked. There was some sort of component there of a fat, not butter or oil fat, but they did work. We made some interesting toast with them, but I guess the biggest thing is just trying to remember those items so that you don't have to hopefully have an avocado.
If you are a regular camper or you are a new camper or you're going to frequently camp, however you want to do this, you should have a very small but very important checklist. Do I have this, 5 or 10 things that you know that you're going to need every time? Plates, some type of oil or butter, utensils. Something to flip something to use, like utensils to flip the meat, something like that. Now, when it comes to cooking these items, whether you're vegetarian or a carnivore, there's many different avenues of cookware in which you can get the very light stuff that, you can hold in the air and it'll fly away because it's just, feather light. These people that are ultra light backpacking people.
Oh, yeah.
These very, very light pieces of cookware, or cast iron, which is the opposite realm of light. However, there is a unique aspect of cooking with cast iron that you cannot achieve by using any other type of means. That cast iron, obviously, you can use that on your camp stove. We cook directly over the fire on things like meat and chicken and burgers, but if you're doing saute of vegetables, you can't really do that. You got to have some type of pan, and we find that a couple of tablespoons of butter and over the fire on the cooking grate or next to the fire, there's just something about that in which you cannot achieve with any type of other cookware. As well as cast iron has been around for many generations and will be around for many more generations. There is Teflon types of cooking pans that have a nonstick coating, but if you're an individual that feels that is a level of toxicity or danger in which you do not want to consume, a seasoned cast iron skillet is a great way to do it. And as you cook more and more, that cast iron skillet becomes more seasoned to the point, if you do it correctly, it becomes a nonstick pan of its own.
Absolutely. And another thing that a lot of people don't think about when cooking and camping is the proper utensils, especially for cooking over the campfire, because you might need something that's a little bit longer handled. Right. You don't want plastic
or wood. You want really metal.
Yeah.
And you want, when we got our cast iron set, we got it from Cabela's. It was a 5-piece set. What was it? It was 2 frying pans and a Dutch oven, and one of the lids, and it was 5 pieces there. And it came with long, elbow length, basically welding gloves that are fairly heat resistant, enough to where you can get the pan off and set it down somewhere. It's not something you're going to hold on to. Their heat it does transfer into the glove.
They're like suede or something.
Right, but it's a very good thing. You can just go to your hardware store, or if you're in Upper Midwest, you can go to Fleet Farm, and you can get welding gloves, leather gloves, or what they call gloves in which welders use to hold hot metal, and they don't burn themselves. And this is a great thing to use over the campfire.
You can also catch birds of prey with them.
Oh yeah, you can do that.
Yeah.
And if you need to adjust the wood on the fire and you don't have a poking stick or a claw, the claw that you would normally adjust, you can use that to get in there and adjust the way the wood lays if you need to adjust it that way without burning yourself too. So whenever you're cooking, and there's no wrong thing that you can cook at a campfire or a campsite. Now, if you're in an area where there are predators, such as panthers or cougars or wolves or bears, your mileage may vary on how and where you should prepare the food and cook it in accordance to where you're going to sleep at night. Every animal is slightly different, so we're not going to give you the advice on that. You have to do what is safe for your particular area. But most times it is not recommended to cook inside the tent when the time of year those animals are most active or not hibernating.
Right. Yeah. You want to consider that, because if you cook inside the tent and then you go to sleep, they might find you.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you are in those areas, some type of whatever is legal for you to obtain, whether it's bear spray or a sidearm or some type of defense mechanism, whatever you feel is safe and legal for you to have in an area of that, based on the type of animal that may intrude on your campsite, public, private. You want to be aware of that and be more prepared and not scared.
Absolutely. For more information, please visit thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com.